because I used to be like a shopaholic.
Used to be? If you think about it, most people will treat their car better than their body. When I'm pissed, everybody's gonna know I'm pissed. There's no eating to let you know that I'm pissed. You gonna feel the wrath.
And it's only afterwards and I'm like, rah. Welcome to Woman Wednesdays, where grown-ass women have grown-ass conversations. I'm Pat.
I'm Lisa.
Let's chat.
Anybody who's been paying attention to the episodes, the past episodes, you know that normally we've got a little wine glass in the back. We've got wine in our hands. The whole atmosphere is different. Well, today we are somewhere else. So we came to visit my little sis here, Jessica Mars. We will be doing health and wellness with Jessica Mars today. And this episode is really, really, really close to my heart. And the reason being is when I brought this to Patty here, saying I want to do the podcast, this was actually the first thing I wanted to put out. And it's because I have gone through quite a journey when it comes to my health. I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer back in, 2000 and something or another. Don't have it right now. Everything's good. Everybody can calm down. But I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And from since then, it's been a battle for me when it comes to my weight. I go up, I go down. I go on these different diets. I'm in the gym. I've joined different classes. I've done everything under the sun. And it has continued to be a battle. Needless to say, when Patty and I got together and we said we wanted to do the podcast, I did not want to do camera. I wanted to just have it be audio.
She was very adamant.
Very.
And I couldn't understand.
And these two people right here bullied me in the end and got me and convinced me to do it.
And look where we are
and
now.
Do the video.
You're like fully a pro.
And so I didn't want to do it. And it was because we tend to get into our heads a lot of the time. And I was, my weight, my this, my that. And so I didn't want to. But you know what? Like anything else that I think I've accomplished in life, I always just push through. And I said, what the heck? You know what I mean? To do it. What's the worst that can happen? And so I'm enjoying it. So I do thank you guys. I'm enjoying it. It is what it is. I continue to be on my journey where my weight loss is concerned. I am going to touch a little bit on this lady, and then I'm going to let her introduce herself. So Jess and I come from a very, 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 very long way. Bell, Canada days. So we were in Bell together, same department, everything. And that's where we became very, very close, along with some other friends of ours. But Jess has been a instrumental part of my life, like this one, when it comes to championing me, when it comes to just being overall. So she's like my guns for hire. She's my doctor. She's my therapist. She's my anything that I need. I know I can come to Jess, and when it's not Jess or vice versa, I go to Pat. So get you two friends like this. But you can't
we did do the episode on friendship, right? And this is to show the significance of having real, true friends. They come not just with a voice, but there's more behind.
Well, this friendship. Is it. And my mom always said to me, you keep people around you that's going to uplift you, right?
Right.
Not people that's going to bring you down or that's on the same level as you. So I'm very, very, very blessed to have both these ladies, but we're blessed today to have Jess, who is the owner of Body by Mars, here for us to do this episode, which is health and wellness with Jessica Mars. So yeah, Jessie, tell the people about yourself.
All right. So I'm Jessica Mars, owner of Body by Mars. I am a massage therapist, but also known as a personal trainer and wellness speaker. So I guess today you guys are having me just to pick my brain and talk about some of the experiences that we've endured together.
Yeah.
Both I guess, on our health journey as well as the wellness piece where the massage therapy comes in. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Very, very welcome. Very welcome. I think this episode is a very important episode because there's so much behind health and, everything named health, and having someone like yourself. I mean, Jess is not a doctor. We always proclaim we're not counselors. We're not legal therapists. We're nothing like that.
Yeah.
And Jess will provide a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge behind who she is, what she does. And close people to us who's watching, I'm quite certain quite a few of you are being treated by Jess. Right? So thanks for tuning in and so forth. But this conversation is a good conversation.
Definitely.
Because it helps to understand, it helps to grow, and just know overall the things that we should do and not do. Right?
Well, I know, we crack about our age, but we're getting up there in age, whatever that number is. Well, you're, okay, whatever. We're getting up there. And I know for myself, I've noticed. And if I go back to, and Pat, you also had an issue where your thyroid's concerned.
Well, yes, just like Lisa, I also, that's to show you the connection here. Isn't that something? So here, this was how many years ago that you were going through your stuff. I didn't know how to relate to it because I wasn't there. Just like, they say you can sympathize with someone, but when you empathize, that's because you have had some of the same exact situation. So what it feels like. At that time, I couldn't comprehend how I could be there for you, supporting you in that journey, just more so being that friend, but not the physical aspect of it. And then I, in turn, fast forward, I think it's probably around 5 years ago that I end up having the same issue with my thyroid. Now, I know one of the things was for you is having thyroid issues. We know that little thing, it controls so much of our body.
Because it's the organ that controls like your hormones, basically, right? So anything to do with your hormones, your hair, your nails, your weight.
It's a vicious thing.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend of mine, it took all her hair, and I'm talking like thinning out the hair, losing her eyebrows and everything. And you just, like, I even think about sometimes some of the emotional things that I would go through, and you're not connecting it to that's what it was. Because even when I found out, I didn't just find out just like that. I was on a vacation. I was back home in Jamaica, and it was my stepmom and my sister said in the Jamaican way, "How about my own neck?" Right? So let me go again. "Oh, what about your neck?" They say you have one lump on your neck. Translate. Okay. What is going on
your neck?
On your neck. You seem to have a lump showing up on your neck. See, I understood. But so, as I got home, as I got off the plane, pretty much, I told my husband, I'm like, we got to go to the hospital, to the doctor. And that doctor too wasn't my regular doctor. And he scheduled whatever. And this is why you have to be so rigorous. You have to just know. And it's not all the time.
And we're going to touch on that.
Someone tells you something, you always want to get the second opinion. Because honestly, this doctor, when he did the x-ray, he made me feel okay. Because he said it was just a small little thing. And I went to, and then he referred me to the thyroid doctor. And the thyroid doctor is like, "So he said that?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "But it's big." So it was a whole different journey for me mentally. Because now I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? But I had to go through it. And even when they did biopsy, it still came back like nothing is wrong.
Yep.
And it's only when they actually did remove one half of my thyroid, they actually had the specimen, the actual, and then they tested it. And even after that, my doctor came back, the surgeon, he goes, "I'm going to test it again because I do see some movements going on. So let me do and that's when he came back and said, yes, it's the starting of it. It's not aggressive or in any fact, you'll be totally fine. We'll remove the other one." Listen, my biggest thing with that was the journey of that from the weight gain, because I've seen personally what it's done for you, Lisa, and people don't understand what it feels like in the mind when your body just changes. Because from I knew you were this tiny thing.
Well, this is it.
Yeah. So
it was, and Jess, I think more than anybody, you heard my cries because coming from being called, my nickname in where I grew up was Bonafide. or when them see me, this is how you get a tough exterior is from growing up in these places. They kukum.
That means translation. You're very skinny.
Right. Okay. So I've always been skinny. I've always been able to eat, mind you, I was about to say eat whatever I want, but the key thing with that is that whether I was able to eat whatever I want and not gain, that meant like whatever food group or whatever and not gain. But I always was a picker. My mom will tell you, I never eat heavy. I am not somebody that has, I guess you'd call it an eating disorder. I don't eat because I'm emotional. When I'm pissed, everybody's going to know I'm pissed. There's no eating to let you know that I'm pissed. You're going to feel the wrath. So I don't have those emotional eating issues, nothing like that.
I think that's where we all kind of have the similarities, because I don't get...
No,
I don't do that. I just say what I got to say.
You understand? I just let you know.
It's just what it is.
And if I'm upset, you should just probably be upset. You probably caused it. So, so I don't eat my feelings away or anything like that. My biggest thing has just been this thyroid, and not having it has caused me to go through a lot of different issues, like pain in my knees, just how my overall. So you end up with not just the effects of weight loss, but it can mess with you mentally.
Oh, of course. Like, especially when we talk about like weight, we measure ourselves by how we feel, how we look.
Yes.
And when you are no longer what you feel like you used to be, which we'll say sometimes when we say weight gain, it makes you feel less than, then therefore you start to second guess yourself. When you put on clothes, you dress to hide yourself.
Right.
So all of that is all because mentally, you don't feel yourself anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So, so from my issue, Pat's issue, thyroid, Pat, even though she had the same issue, Pat, her body obviously is different.
Yeah.
And she didn't go through it aggressively as my body was taking to it. Like my body literally went the opposite direction from how I used to be. What are some ways, because you did tell me this, and I'm going to say, Jess, when she doesn't know, what I love about her is she will also point you in the right direction. So Jess has put me to, what is his name, Dr. Lee?
Oh yeah, the Chinese medicine doctor.
Yes. And I've spoken with him. I've, spoken with my doctor. I've spoken with Jess. I go to Pilates now. I do. So all of this came around to people telling me you got to keep moving.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ways that you would say you have to combat this whole weight gain and whatever. You have to keep moving.
Yeah.
What else would you say is a big deal? What?
Well, ultimately a lot of this is like hormonal imbalances.
Yes.
So even just being able to gauge where you are now and where you need to be. So a specialist will be the person that will kind of dictate based on the numbers that they see. But, in our discussions, like we talked about, having your hormonal levels checked. So that you had a means to figure out where you were and where you need to be, right? And that would be, like I said, maybe a naturopath was your best bet, or an endocrinologist.
Those are some big words.
The person that deals with hormones.
I just heard knuckle.
I
can't stand you guys. But in your case too, when we had our discussions, we talked about even getting you talking to a thyroid specialist, because a GP is a GP, the title general practitioner. They don't specialize in the thyroid, or they don't specialize in weight loss. They don't specialize in rehab. So they know a little bit, but when it comes to figuring out what's going on with your body, this is where I was like, maybe it's outside of the scope of your doctor that may need to look at the finer numbers that are specific to you.
Yes.
So a lot of times, yes, we trust in our doctor, and we should, but when things still aren't going the way you'd like it to, especially when they're giving you advice and you're still not seeing the results, maybe it's time to seek additional help from somebody that specializes.
Right.
Yes, that's always been my point of reference.
Yeah, that's a good.
I've done along with coming to, because Jess, she mentioned she had the boot camp. She killed me there. Jess is. So I call her a Jackie of all trades, because she also did the during the COVID. You did the
meal prep.
The meal prep.
Yeah.
So I've gone through that. She's also taught me how to meal prep. I did the macros diet.
Yeah.
And the macros diet was really good.
Yeah.
Like that, if anything I'm going to say that helped me in conjunction with working out, it was the macros diet. And that was because you were weighing, you were understanding based on your calories and your what would you call it?
So it's like your
protein.
breakdown of protein, carbs, and fats.
Yes.
And depending on what your activity level, what your goal is, then we came up with a number that was ideal for you to meet that goal and not feel like you're starving, but you can still consume foods that you like in the same.
Right. And that worked really well for me.
Yeah.
But with anything else with the dieting,
Consistency.
It's consistency.
Yeah.
And I'm not like making excuses, but my life just did not work. It didn't work for me.
It's tedious.
Well, I mean, if I was a Kardashian or whoever out there, celebrity, where somebody do it for me, it'd be great.
Yeah.
If I had somebody to do it for me, I know I'd be on point. Yeah. But it's a struggle when you guys can attest. Mm-hmm. I know just like, okay, it's you, but you still have how many different things you're doing, right? Yeah. To have to move through the day. So it can be tedious. It can be,
I think also as we get older, and I believe we may have been talking about this the other day, but like, when you're younger, you can just eat whatever you want. Like I used to just pop chips and eat chocolate bars and I'm good. Like I don't even have to eat dinner and I can just pack it down. But now when you cross over to another number, and things don't speed up the way they used to. Things don't break down. How should I say this? Your metabolism slows down.
Big time
slows down. Like now it's like, okay, what do you do now? How do you control and get out of that habit, change your mind to now fit your lifestyle to a different pattern of eating? Because as much as I have the thyroid issue, I'm a snacker. Like I still will have my chips and so forth. Mm-hmm. And it's only afterwards and I'm like, rah, what am I doing? Oh my God, what did I do?
Rah?
Yeah.
Oh.
After I've consumed it, and it's just like, I mean, it's you know what? Even if it's not about weight gain, it's also knowing that your body is not the same. Mm-hmm. So you're consuming and you're holding on to certain things. Right. And sometimes you really don't see it, but it shows up somewhere else on your body that you're not ideally always paying attention to.
Yeah. Yes.
So like, how does one train? I think that's the whole thing. It's all about discipline, consistency. You know what I'm saying? All of that. And how do we go about that?
I think a lot of it comes down to education, right?
Right.
When we eat, we tend to mimic the habits that have been created for us when we're younger.
Yeah.
And so therefore, a lot of times I'm going to say, I speak for myself. I came from a generation where my parents were first, they first came to Canada. Mm-hmm. They bought foods based on either what they knew or what they could afford. Mm-hmm. So if I was to pick at some of the foods that I was eating back then, like truthfully, if you read the ingredients, you'd probably never touch it. Mm-hmm. But even keeping in mind, the exact same items that we bought back then don't even have the same value anymore because they added so many preservatives and fillers within it. So that it's a hard comparison, but reality is if we are going to make changes, we have to probably drop a lot of the habits that we created as a result of just being raised on food that weren't good for us or still aren't good for us. But also keeping in mind that as we age, we no longer produce the same enzymes that we used to break down foods.
Right.
And so that in itself is an indicator that we need to take on supplementation. Right. So that's another thing that a lot of us don't even really.
Because I'm guilty for that. Though.
Yeah. Why did you do it?
I know, because you said it to me the other day. Pat, did you take care of this and that and whatever? And in my mind, I'm like,
yeah. No, you're gonna wish you started 5 years ago.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
But I do work out, and I know with watching what you eat aligns with the working out because you're making the both of them work.
The kitchen is very important. I've said that many times.
And like even parking, I tend to park further away from my destination so I can get those steps in. And that's something that I literally do it consciously. Yeah. It's just now a habit for me.
So I'm at home.
Unless it's wintertime and you can't, but I go through it.
And that's a good point that you bring because I'm at home now. So COVID has caused a lot of us who
pack on some pounds.
Right. Yeah. Like big time. Like I think I put the majority of the weight on through COVID.
Yeah.
What are some things that you would tell along with the diet? So we understand. So the kitchen is key.
Yeah.
Right? We've got to watch when you reach over to a certain age. It's not to say shut it down, because I refuse now to go on a specific diet.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Well, listen to the word diet.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like diet.
I didn't break it down like that.
But no, I like to break down words. I like to really put words
clearly.
into perspective.
Diet and then
No, like I read it.
Okay,
Diabetes.
Right.
They say you're dead if you're
You're dead if you eat.
Yeah.
So I choose not to be on a diet, but I do choose to pay attention to when I put food in my mouth, what I'm putting in my mouth. If I choose to put, to eat, like, let's say, chips, how much am I eating? And then what's the rest of my day look like? So I will do it like that.
Okay.
Right? But working from home, Jess, what is it when it comes to getting your steps in? Because that's where I struggle.
Yeah, of course. When you're at home, like, unless you live in a 10,000 square foot mansion,
which I don't.
Soon. You're not going to get the movement that you need. Right. So and the movement is key for not only just muscle contraction. The importance of movement is also great for circulation. The importance of movement is for, that's blood flow. That's use of muscle so that it can sustain you.
So does it work? Because I used to be like a shopaholic. Oh. And when I'd walk the mall.
Used to be?
Yes.
Yes. Walking. Yes. You know what? As much as I was doing wrong.
What you didn't do 5 minutes ago does not make you a used to be.
No.
A used to be.
I slowed down.
Oh.
But no, but for real though.
Online.
Huh?
You just order your...
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. But yes, it does help that you're getting your steps in by walking the mall, like whatever it is you do, because, we talked before, when it comes to getting your steps in, we weren't consciously doing it because we just knew that we had to get from this point to that point, whether it be from your car to the GO station, from the GO station to the office, or in my case, when I was working in the office, I was going from one floor to the next or one person to the next. It was enough for me to get the steps in that I didn't think about it because I was just naturally active.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then you move to the home environment, which whether in your case home, in my case was massage. My laps were around a table. Okay, I scoot here, scoot there. I went to a desk and came back. Like that was the most I did.
Right.
And in doing that and observing it, I realized I was probably getting less than 1,000 steps a day.
Yes.
When they say that you should have no less than 10,000. So I'm going to say the same thing's going to happen when you're in your home. You're probably getting 500 if you don't move.
That's it.
Well, the average person is not really doing 10,000 steps a day.
You have to make the effort.
But you have to make the effort to know that you're doing it. And there's so many gadgets that's allowing you to see that, right? We always have our phones in our hands. So the phone has the app that allows the counts, right? Yeah. And then you can, you're watching everything, or you're just purposeful about it.
Yeah.
Because like we said, COVID really did a doozy, I use that word, on us and a lot of us. And then it's kind of like, okay, let's rewire the brain now to be back in that place of consciously being aware of what we are not doing.
Yeah.
So
just to step over a little bit, diet though. So I'm going to go back again. Good versus bad of this so-called dieting.
You know what? Unless we'll say good is assuming that we get the food that we look at. You know what I mean? I say that because there's I guess genetically modified, and we really don't know other than what they tell us. So assuming that we're eating what's considered the best things for us, it's going to be our whole foods, which are foods that are your fruits and your vegetables, your meats that are your all types of forms of protein, whether it be fish, chicken, beef, pork. All of those are considered like the better choices.
Right.
They've been untouched. The foods that are untouched are the best ones for you because they're the purest things for you. Once you start to go on those inner sections of your grocery stores, which are your inner aisles, they have to be preserved in some way to maintain shelf life of X amount of years. So all of these things are the things that we know for a fact has a negative impact on us. When you consume in abundance, yes, it makes it a little bit worse for you and me, but we just don't know exactly what it does because we can't see what we're doing, right? But we just know it's not the best thing. Now, so if you did have a choice, you're looking to shop on the outer end of the grocery store because at least you know it's whole for the most part. There may be a little pesticides here and there or antibiotics there and here and there, but I think if you're gonna pick, you know, the lesser of the two evils, you're gonna go with your whole foods, right?
Okay. I wanted to say, I know we spoke about what we have, you know, similar alike, but what I noticed as a trend, and maybe trend is not the word, but a lot of females, we deal with low iron and anemia and all of that. And I also have that issue as well too. And I'm sure having your clients here and so forth, those are things that are in the conversations that you have. What advice, if you do and if you can share, would you provide to females or males about that condition? Because it seems to be something that at least every third person I hear suffers that. Low iron and then being anemic. Because one of the replacements I know is chewing ice. So that's how I tell when my iron is low. I either, when my sleep feels like it's like a deep death, kind of like you wake up but you just need to go back under type of thing, that's when I know my iron is low. So if anyone is experiencing that and you don't know what that is, go visit your doctor. Another thing is I like to chew ice, right? Which is not ideal. It's not the ice, it's the crunch. And I don't know what that does for a person with low iron, but it's very soothing and it does, it's a satisfaction to it. I'm talking like going to like Tim Hortons or Starbucks and just asking for a cup of ice, but I know why I'm eating it. When I know my iron's not low is when I stop eating and I don't have to crave for the ice, which I haven't in a while. But those are just signs. And if you look it up, it says that's one of the indications that, you know, one is dealing with low iron and so forth. But what kind of meals and like,
I feel like that still comes back to your diet, like what you're
what you
eating
eat,
and
right?
And supplement. Right?
I think in the end too, like your best way to consume it, anything that is going to, I guess, fuel the iron piece is going to be through food before supplementation. And I just say that because your body better absorbs it.
Right.
So, you know, typically somebody that suffers with low iron, you'd want to increase, because I find a lot of people, based on, you know, trends and even just their preference, they remove a lot of red meats. And somebody that has any type of iron deficiencies, they should aim to get like, you know, 2 to 3 servings of red meat in their diet on a weekly basis because they're that low. I'm not a liver lover. Don't try to change me. I think it's disgusting.
You haven't had mine yet.
You see, I hear this all the time.
Oh no, I eat liver.
No, if I cook it for you, you're gonna eat it.
No, me too. I
always get fooled by the smell, and when I taste it,
then somebody else is cooking it wrong for you.
No, they don't know what they're doing. Don't worry.
Okay, we'll try this another.
Yeah, we're gonna.
So, anyways,
I mean, who likes beets? I never like beets.
I love beets.
Beet is something that's good for your iron.
Beets now. Yeah.
I like it.
What I was saying is, if you do like liver, consume liver, have some red meat. Those things a couple times a week will help boost your iron, as well as like your leafy greens, like the rich leafy greens will be higher in iron. And then on top of that, if needed, supplementation. The supplementation, you know, the downside to it is people tend to see like dark black stool. They might see a little bit more constipation potentially.
And their pee color.
All of these things will change. However, if you want, like I tell people sometimes, test it, right? Try increasing it through food first. Go get some blood work done and see if the results are still the same as it was before you were informed that you had low iron, because we don't realize how much we are deprived of on a protein level, just naturally. Forget about having an iron deficiency. A lot of people just don't consume enough protein because we typically get filled with the carbs because we love it. Like we love the rice. We love, and not that carbs are bad, but the ones that we love tend to be the rice, the potatoes, the fries. Those things are higher in quantity when we talk about like its calorie content. And then we fill up on that and then we miss out on the protein. And the protein is the key element to like building muscle, maintaining muscle, and even just having longevity when it comes to maintaining feeling full. Protein is a key component to it, right?
But you see how you say that? This is why I'm saying I refuse to just do anything to do with I'm on a diet. Because it can be so confusing right now. I know my grandmother growing up, she just ate and she was fine.
Mhm.
She lived until 4.
Mhm.
But she's on the island though.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
But so
the
that, I'm
island
just
is-
showing
yeah.
you though, right? So they never had anything about,
No.
oh, watch your diet, watch your this.
Mhm.
But where I was going with it is that you say red meat is necessary for the iron. Meanwhile, you will hear people say when you eat steak and it takes forever to break down.
Yeah, I didn't
So
tell
it's
you to
not
eat it
good.
every day. I didn't tell you to have it every day, every meal. But I guess
So everything
yes.
comes in moderation
Exactly.
is where you're going with it.
Yeah, that's
right.
still considered, like if you think about, if you're consuming protein, there's 7 days of the week, right? So you have like all different forms of protein. But I'm thinking be intentional with the red meat portion
Right.
because of the iron issue,
Yeah.
right? So, and of those 7 days of the week, you still have how many meals throughout your day
Right.
that you are still expected to consume food. So if I'm telling you to do that 3 times a week and just saying that maybe somebody that has 3 meals a day, not everybody does that, but 3 meals a day at 7 days a week, that's 21 meals. And I'm only telling you to do it 3 times. It's not that much.
Right.
Right.
Makes
So
sense.
those are the things that I feel like, because we don't consciously make the effort to consume certain foods, we forget that it even should be done. But when we started to, so if we go back to the old days, we'll call it the caveman days, you ate based on what you're able to kill and capture. It wasn't the preservatives.
Right.
So therefore, the issues that we have today wouldn't even be a concern if that's how we ate, right?
Mhm.
We talk about, people talk about cleansing. Like if you ate based on what was in season, you wouldn't need to cleanse because your body would do a natural cleanse on its own. So all of these things are what we do now to offset the stuff that we've now put into play as a norm when that's not normally something we would have had. You know what I mean? Like all these things about making things readily available to us all the time isn't a normal thing. It's a normal thing for us now. But if you think about it, like if you go back, as you say, the island life, right? You just know there's mango season, right? We know that when mango season busts, everybody's picking, grabbing wherever you can because you're going to enjoy it while it's here. And when that time comes around that it's no longer there, you just have to sit and wait. But guess what? You were eating something else after, right? You did not eat, but you just didn't eat the mangoes. Right. So that was natural detoxification.
You're
no,
gonna lose
you know
me
what?
soon. I'm going back.
I'll be right there with you.
Okay.
No, I'm definitely
sure
going to
my room is there.
My permanent
My
is the
room-
island. I'm not here.
My room is there. But
Well, me not go back where she go.
But even
They got
see what you
monkeys
said about
over
your
there.
grandmother living a long life. I will say a lot of, if we think about even how our grandparents or even how our parents lived when they were there, they not only ate based on what was in season, they ate what they could afford, and sometimes it was free because they caught the fish, they killed the chicken, or they picked whatever was on their land.
But let's and all jokes aside, I've been claiming this for the last how much years. Realistically, that's what I want my not last years, but I want to live a next journey on the island. And the reason for that is because I want to live off of my plantation. I want to have my coconuts. I want to have all my earth food and whatever I can go in my backyard or in my whatever and pick, because that's what it is for me back home with my household.
To do it for me. Like I want that, but I don't want it.
No, there's a joy. I think my back home, that's what is, my whole yard is full of like fruits and veg and all of that. And I like that. Like,
I have
can
Chef
pick
eating
my,
it for me. Chef
pick
climbing
my
tree.
bananas.
I know he will.
I used to climb trees when I was a young girl.
Look at
I was
you.
a pro.
Oh.
I was.
Oh.
Can I do it now? Oh no.
You will hurt yourself. I'll keep the table ready for you because you will pull something. That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
And actually, so we could switch, unless you had something else. I want to switch over to the other part of
No,
Jackie.
I will say in respect to the health thing, juice is something I used to drink, but now it's all about water. And I would say that, consume your water. Consume your water.
Big.
It becomes a part of you.
Yeah.
However, I did read on social media some woman drowned from drinking too much water.
Because these people are foolish. That means are you drinking while you're on the toilet? I need to understand how this happens.
Like really, like she drowned.
And are you not
she
peeing
internally
you drank to a point you made yourself sick. That means you're not listening to your body's cues. Like that's the only thing that tells me that you're one of those people that eat yourself to death. Like that's what you do.
You just hit the nail on something because I said that to you, not drowning, but I said to you, that sometimes I drink water and it just literally sits here. Like I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that's why I used to struggle to drink water. And you said to me, it's one, because I'm not flushing it out and I don't drink enough of it. So when I do drink it, my body's holding on to it.
Well, think about when you're pregnant, right? And you have to do
That's a long
ultrasound.
time ago, but whatever.
It doesn't matter for those who's becoming pregnant. Doing the ultrasound, you got to gulp all this whatever, this water. I found the trick for that though.
What's the trick?
I just wait till maybe a half an hour to the appointment.
That's not the trick, because if they were being
it
real with
works.
you,
They never tell me. They never send me back.
Well, your people that were being nice to you, because they know. They're like, did you just drink the water?
Because when you're
They're
doing,
done
when
that
you're
too.
going through
you
that,
need to be done at least a half an hour.
Yo,
At least.
I'm telling you, I found the trick. Because why the amount of stuff you have to stop and let's
I tell people, I'm like, listen, I'll pee on this table.
Right.
I'm like, so you better figure out what you're doing.
They had to tell me to go and let some out. And I'm like,
Stop. You can't. I'm sitting down. And I am just letting it go. It's gonna go. What am I teasing my bladder for? Okay, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, let's just go.
That's where Kegels supposed to come in, right?
There's no such thing. The last ultrasound lady I had was Chinese Jamaican, so she already knew when she said. I said, "Well, excuse me, son." I said, "There's no such thing."
What sense does that make? You know?
Hurry up. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Yes. Anyway, so water is very key.
Very important.
All the jokes aside, water is very, very key, and I've come a long way with that, because for me, water it wasn't a matter that I wanted to drink juice over water. It was a matter of I could eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. I could eat and not drink anything.
Yeah, me too.
That's just how I was. I didn't need a drink there with me in order to consume my food or whatever. Yeah. Sometimes I would eat and I would forget that I didn't, like I didn't drink anything, or I didn't, you know what I mean? Go to bed and I didn't drink anything. Yeah. Now it's because I've now been telling not crying for it, but now because I've been telling myself, you need to drink something. So I'm drinking before my meal. I'm drinking after my meal. I'll still eat a whole meal and not drink, but I'm saying that the water now is not such a bother for me, because I am telling myself, I came here, my water cup is there, the big old, yes, I'm in the car, I'm drinking. So
it's not for show.
No, I drink.
So you actually use it?
I do.
Okay.
I'm drinking.
Okay.
Anyway, so moving right along to what else Jackie over here does, Jackie of all trades. Jess also, in this room that we're in, she does massage therapy. And I spoke on the fact that weight and it being caused, for me, thyroid was the big catalyst for it. However, when you're stressed, I believe that can also, you can tell me if I'm wrong, can have a lot to do with weight gain as well.
Yeah. Everybody manages stress differently, and a lot of people take on stress, and people stress and lose weight. People stress and gain weight. Like it's the luck of the draw, you know.
Yeah.
So when it comes to taking care of your body, so we understand the diet.
Yeah.
We understand the exercising. What else? Because I know I come to you, which I come to you, one, because of the job that I'm in. And I didn't realize that until I came on your table, how necessary it was for me to get the massage because of all the kinks. You knew right away that I hold all my stress here.
Yeah.
By the time you finish press me out, I'm good.
Press?
Yeah, I call it press.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never heard that either.
Yeah, what she do? She pressed you out.
No, she massaged me.
Okay, well anyway, you say massage, I say press.
Yes.
You say tomato, I say tomato. So
some people who are watching could think pressing your hair.
No, I said press me out.
Okay.
Yes. What else, Jess, would you say is key to taking care of this body? This, what do they say? What do they call your body? Your vessel? Your whatever. Taking care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's key?
Yeah. What are other things?
The key is coming to me.
Okay. Done.
No, I will say key is movement. Key is making sure that we look at all aspects of the body. So the body is meant to move. You should move in some way. And it doesn't mean that you always have to go to the gym. You can go for walks. You can do yoga. You can do various things, in-home exercises, whatever works for you. There's that. There's also the act of having maintenance. Right. So coming to me for massages are great. or going to physio or chiro for monthly or I guess semi-monthly maintenance is another key element to ensuring that your body is in optimal health. Like, it's hard for people to understand what it's like for their body to feel at its peak when you are operating on its low. A lot of people don't realize they're operating on its low because they just go through the day.
Keep going. Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, that's definitely so.
That's what we do.
I
you just know stuff has to be done.
Yeah, like I say, we go to, when we're going through things, we go to a counselor. We do therapy, but our body needs that physical counseling as well too. And it's kind of crazy because if you don't know your body's often crying out to you, saying that there's something that I need to do. I feel like up here seems to be all right, but physically there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And I say this to say that coming to Jess, because Jess is just honestly, like, I love rigorous massages and really kind of deep massages, and she does her thing. But there's been a time specifically I remember being at work, and over time, like, a couple of days or maybe even a week passed, and I'm feeling something, but I think it was right here in my neck, or was it in the lower part of my back or something like that? But I couldn't figure it out what it was. And you said to me, I called you and you told me that it's maybe I'm not even saying the terminology right, but it's stress. Like, it's like my body is crying out because it's a transfer of the what do you call it? The knots or the pressure or whatever. Because like Lisa, I feel my stress up here, but because I'm not managing it, I'm not maintaining it, I'm not coming to you to help with that. It's now shifted somewhere else, and that's where why I'm feeling what I'm feeling in that specific spot.
So I guess in this case, like, it was likely something like a trigger point. So that's what we call like referral pain. So like, often when people get referral pains, a lot of it is manifested through like tension headaches, right? So headaches in and around your forehead, your temple, all those things are indicative of where it may stem from. So small things like that give us an indication of what's happening. However, somebody coming in for a true assessment will give you a better idea of what's happening. But this happens with a lot of people. Like, it is very common to see this happen, especially when you're in an office. Office work is like the death of people, I would say, right? Like, it's creating a sedentary life that our body's not meant for. So often when you go to a place of business to where you've now, you found your desk that you're expected to work in every day, and it's not even properly set up for you ergonomically, right? So all of that will create long-term impact, right? So positioning of your keyboard, positioning of your chair, your desk, your computer screen, all of that are all components to what will cause long-term impact. Where, the average person will look and say, well, you just have a desk job, it shouldn't be a big deal. It actually is a big deal.
Right.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
So those are things that, when I have an opportunity to come in contact with a client and I figure out, okay, these are the things that you're complaining about, I ask you, like, where do you work, or what type of work do you do? Does it consist of you standing or walking? Do you have long periods of standing, or are you always rotating your head between two screens or one? Desktop versus laptop. And I say this because even something as simple as a laptop, most of us are operating on laptops. Laptops were designed to do short periods of work. Its initial implementation was short periods of work to get done that you didn't have to lug around your desktop.
Right.
But it's now become the new desktop.
Yes.
But the new desktop, being your laptop, now has you like this.
Yes.
So that's more stress on the back of the neck. You know what I mean? There's so many things that are now impacted by simplifying the ability to do the task on it from a desktop to a laptop now, that you should now adjust to what that should look like to emulate the desktop, if you look at it that way, right? So that laptop should be raised, or at least there's another screen that you would then connect your laptop to, so you're looking straight across rather than down, right? So all those little things are actually huge things, and that will then reduce the possibility of you getting a little hump in the back of your neck, right? Or even becoming that person. Because I always tell people, you see that person, when I try to talk to them and I feel like they hear me, but they don't really hear me. But I'll say something like, you know, that old person in the mall that you see walking and they're like this,
Mhm.
and they're like, yeah, I'm like, they weren't always like that. And they'll be like, oh, because most of us aren't born with like,
Humped.
scoliosis to a point that you're hunched over, but we do have what we call like functional scoliosis, right? Like things that come about because you repeatedly do things.
Yeah.
And so that's why people look the way they do, whether they're conformed this way, or they walk with a limp. All of these things are based on habits.
Well, I and that's very much so. Thank you so much for that. Another thing that I would point out, although you've identified certain things here, is even going through in relationships. You know, we are people, we separate, we divorce, and so forth, and which is feels like a death at points, because it's a major trauma. And then what you're leaning towards when you go through that is, how do I get over this? How do I do this? How do I do that? And we're not considering the fact that we're more looking from the emotional standpoint. We're looking for the traumatic standpoint. You're looking at red flag, like just things that are triggering or whatever. But what we're not realizing, that trauma has also affected you physically as well.
You just
too.
actually went through that. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Because you called me one time and you asked me if I have ever had like this red spot in my eye. Right. And I said no, but I do know, and I know what you are going through.
Yeah.
So between the crying and the stress and whatever, I said you should go. The first thing I said, because I will always say, is go. You need to go and check your doctor. But it is probably stress induced.
Yes.
Right? Because you don't have it now.
You check your blood pressure?
And
I never checked my blood pressure.
Right.
I never did.
That was the other thing. Yes.
Because it was a telltale that there's something, whatever is I'm going through, it's now starting to show.
Yes.
And it's showing because, listen, some people stress and you don't see that they're stressed. Some people are so stressed, they're depressed, and they still come around with a big smile on their face and going through whatever. I've lived that life for some time. But like, your body will talk to you. Like, your body is saying something to you through whatever means, right?
And guys, this is why, before we're even wrapping up, that was one of the biggest things that I wanted to say, was that we need to know our body.
Yeah.
We need to understand and know your body. I think of my body like my car.
Yeah.
If I buy my car and everything's smooth, there's no sound, there's no nothing, when I feel when I'm driving, the moment something like that happens,
say it again.
Oh.
Right.
Okay. Is that a good description?
My car's never done that.
No, it can.
Okay.
Right? So when it does that, automatically I call who's responsible for that, which is my mechanic. That's the doctor for my car.
Right.
And I bring the car in. And I can't tell him what the problem is, but I can tell him it's making a noise or doing the jiggle that it wasn't doing when I first got it. So something's up. He will go. The caliper is gone. The this, the that, the whatever. Same how I treat my body.
Yeah.
The moment something, so if I have this headache, whether it be back, front, side, whatever, the first thing I stop and say is, what didn't I do? I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't eat.
You're identifying.
Whatever it may be. I don't need to run, so I'm not going to necessarily run to the doctor right away for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not a pill popper. I really and truly try to stay away from busting an Advil because I have a slight headache or whatever. I try to fix it based on what I think the issue is.
Right.
And that is probably, and I would think, Jessica, you would agree, that's the biggest thing, is that we do need to understand our bodies and know when it's going through whatever stressor and whatever it is, like your incident with the eye or whatever.
Well, I would say, like, even just, it's funny because when you gave that analogy about the car, it's like, if you think about it, most people will treat their car better than their body.
Amen.
And people can replace a car, but you can't replace your body. So imagine that we do that for the car and not yourself.
I know. I think we do that for not just the car, quite a few other things.
We do it for our kids.
Yeah.
Anything wrong with our kids, we're ready to run.
Yeah.
Literally everybody but you.
Right.
Will put the time and effort in to fix.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then you leave yourself for last. So thanks for putting it that way, because it makes you think. You're like, damn, like, people really treat themselves poorly.
That's true.
But it is important to understand what your body's norm is.
Yeah.
So when things do change, you can take the necessary steps to address it. Right.
Yeah.
Because I will say, like, given the stress example, I feel I manage stress very well, to a point where I probably don't think I have a very nonchalant attitude. So I let shit go if it's not even that big of a deal, but I realize how I manifest.
I wish I was
stress
like that.
is I clench in my sleep. And it gets to a point that my jaw has become out of alignment, and then I start talking with a lisp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's happened to me before.
I know I clench too. Like
Yeah.
you can feel it when
and
I
then
wake
my
up.
jaw does this, and then I can't bite down properly because the teeth don't line up. But it happened to me once. I was like, oh hell no! I'm like, what was this? So I went to the dentist. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, everything's fine. I said, not everything is not fine.
Yeah.
I know when I bite, it is touching. Like that's not normal.
Yeah,
There's always a little bit of an overbite.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, everything's fine. I'm like, listen,
No,
it's not normal.
Can you
So
come pull up your chair beside my bed?
yeah, they gave me the paper for the bite test. So they folded a piece of paper, they put it between my teeth and asked me to bite down, and they pulled it right out. And that's when they knew, oh, your jaw's out of alignment. And so they're like, okay, well, are you feeling stress? And I'm like, no, but like, again, I'm not thinking of it because
Right.
I manage
And
it
stress
the way
doesn't
I
walk
do.
up to you and say,
Right.
hey, you're stressed.
You want it to slap you in the face,
Right.
right? Like when you identify stress, you expect that stressor to be like a death.
Yes.
Like it has to be bold in neon
Right.
lights, and that's not how it manifests itself. But I realized how it actually does manifest within my body.
Right.
So in turn, what I end up having to do is some self-massage. Thank God I know what I'm doing. But I also started to sleep with a mouth guard during that time, so I couldn't clench anymore. So it's like I fixed it myself. But it's amazing to see that that's what my body's response was to something I wasn't identifying.
Huh.
And it was like, when I tell you, it was the weirdest feeling because, like I've never spoken with Elizabeth in my entire life.
You know, it's so funny. Anxiety. And I used to suffer with anxiety, like panic attacks, and like some severe ones. And since where I'm over here now in my no, I'm not referring to age. I'm talking about
I can't tell the difference because you always say over here now for everything.
No, I tried to say that without saying too much. But going from a relational standpoint, I feel like I'm in a good place. So my mind is not where it once was. So therefore it's settled. And I've been through and experiencing things as recent as as what I've been going through, but I don't get into that anxiety because it's like
your stressor has been removed.
Yes, exactly. I've identified, right? And just other things that I'm seeing that I'm like legit, like, no, when I'm having those panic attacks and anxiety, I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like it's like something is pulling me into a dark place and I have to try and control it. So your mind is messing with you and you just don't know what to do for the most part in that moment. But I've yet to experience it. And it's been like a year and a half now that I haven't experienced that, And
the thing is, you can't run from life.
Yeah.
You can't run from stressors of life. But what you do to combat it is very key. Whether it be that you are getting in the gym or you're going for that walk
for a massage.
Or you come to Jessica for a massage or you go
to a spa.
We've all done that, gone to the spa.
Yeah.
It actually trickled. Jessica brought me to Go Spa for my birthday, and then I brought Pat because I loved it that much that you know what I've now brought other people onto it.
When you go to that, you want to really relax and allow it to actually take
have
place.
to. And mind you, that's coming from me who does not know how to relax.
It's funny because when I think I still laugh about the time I took you. Because when we first got there and we're just sitting there, like about 15 minutes in, she's just like, so what do we do?
Yeah.
Like, what do we do next? I'm like, nothing.
No, you're just relaxing.
Because I don't know
She doesn't know how to shut it down.
I don't. Just me on her table is an issue.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know how to shut it down. If I'm getting my nails done, she's like, Mommy.
No, that happens to me too.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like, just relax. But I'm like, I am.
And I'm thinking I'm relaxed.
What are you doing?
So that is an issue for me. And I know that that's an issue for me because my mind is always going. Like even people say, okay, you should be able to shut down at night and go to sleep by 10 o'clock. You don't need the TV on. No, I need the TV on. I need to hear that noise in the background in order for my brain to shut down and for me to go to sleep.
I feel you've told yourself that.
Well, maybe that's what I told myself, but that's just what helps.
I'm naturally a TV person at night too, so I understand exactly what you're saying. But
Me too.
Going back to the whole spa experience, especially when we were in that sauna room. In order for you to, especially when you're in the sauna room and it's at that intense heat, when you're any other day, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. But when you are able to calm your breathing down, and the controlled breathing is the key to get through that full duration, that changes everything. So I think if you understood now how to take that same breathing pattern that you use to calm yourself in that intense heat, bring it into your room, you may not need the TV.
Well, look at you. Well, I'll try that tonight.
I hope so. Well, maybe today's your anniversary.
So. Okay, maybe not tonight.
Oh, she'll be breathing differently.
Shut down.
You'll be breathing.
Lock it down.
What I was saying is tomorrow. But what I would say is, if you have a job and that job offers you benefits, take advantage.
Yeah.
Take advantage because a lot of us don't. I've always been working, and you're paying into this thing,
that's your
but
salary.
you're not. Yeah, that's the part of your money, right? And you're not using it.
Right.
When I was losing my benefits is when I realized, oh shit, I need to use it.
Yeah.
So I'll do massage like every week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I think they gave us 2 months to use our stuff. Every week, I told the dentist, you better find what you need to find right now.
Drill.
So if we need to go every month, we're going to do it.
Oh my God,
but
problems.
you are paying into it. So maximize it. It's going to be a benefit to you. I get it. Sometimes it's all about timing, but it's important to make the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You made the time to go take your car in. You made the time to go take your dog to the vet. You make your time for everything else. So make the time for yourself.
That's make time for self, and it's okay to be selfish.
Yeah.
At times, that's your selfish moment. That's your moment where you lock away everybody ninging at you, and because again, we're always doing for others, and we're not doing for ourselves. And that's when you're your selfish me. What are you doing today? I'm gonna get my massage. What are you going to do? I'm going to the spa, but I need this. No, I need this, and I'm going to do me right now. Once I'm done, then you come and check me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because people, things, life, everything is always, taking from you, taking, and then you're at this
when
point
you're depleted,
now,
you can't give it.
What do you
give
do?
it to anybody else?
You know,
right?
So anyhow,
so Jess, thank you very much. Jess is going to be on a couple other more segments.
There's so much
I'm about
to
to take over.
Yeah.
There is so much.
We haven't even told her that, but she's going to do more because we could talk forever on this because I think this is probably we've lost friends.
Oh gosh,
this out of nowhere, we don't even know. You know what I mean? We sit here today, and then all of a sudden, and a lot of people are not realizing, the difference. You're not seeing, like your eyes are blurry or whatever. And you're not going in.
Well, okay, before we shut off, I will say that. So one of my closest friends, which you know of, she was always she had a aneurysm, and she's good. She's better now, but she's not 100% better. And she always had signs. She was always getting these signs and indications that something's wrong. And she said she'll black out at times or whatever. But it's also, I'll say this, it's also, your health is also depicted based on the company you keep. So if you know that certain people will bring you bad energy down, and you're not even realizing that. And she's around certain people that I myself could not connect to. I'm my type of people them that, right? But but I say this, that now she's in a place in her life where her life is now limited. She cannot live a normal lifestyle. It took part of her memory. I think she has long-term memory, but short-term memory is what lost. And it's sad. Like this is someone who I knew, like this was one of my best friends, and we can sit and laugh and bring up things from the past, and we laugh and talk about, thank God she has that. But I had to watch her go through that phase of fear that when I heard her parents call me, I thought when I arrived, like she'd be gone. But thank God that the doctors and everything was able to, do what they had to do, go into the brain, do what they had to do. And now she's here, but she's not 100, but at least I still have her and we can still chat.
Yes.
And I say this to say that she had those signs and she didn't do anything about it. And
it's rare that people have these life-ending type of tragedies without a sign.
Yeah.
And everything your body tells you is a sign. It may not be the sign to go to the emergency room right now, but it's a sign that there's something's
Something's
changing
up.
in your body.
Yeah,
for sure.
So take heed. Every sign. You know what? A rash is a sign.
Yes.
And inflammation is a sign.
Yes.
Like, everything is a sign.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I've heard of people having like a rash or something on their hand, and it turned out to be cancerous, and then it turned out to be that severe that they only had like a couple months to live.
Yes.
Just the one little rash.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. But listen, we can talk all day long, talk about these things because it's warranted, it's needed. It's just a continued conversation. And for it to, for us to have Jessica here that can, again, she's not a doctor, but she's well versed and understand, not just from her studies, but also just from conversation with people while she's doing her thing, helping people in her matter. We will continue with Jess.
No, we're going to continue.
And
there's going to be
yeah.
a few other ones that we'll definitely be doing with her around health and wellness, treating your body.
That's all you guys want to talk to me about?
We'll find something
find
else
other things to talk about,
right?
Because that just.
But if
can
you actually have anything that you want to ask Jess, you definitely can ask through the YouTube, through our platform, or
you can visit me at bodybymars.com if you'd like to book an appointment, or if you'd like to just reach out to me via Instagram. It's Body by Mars on Instagram. And that has all means to contact me, whether it be phone number or email. Please, if you're looking to just book an appointment, go directly to the website. Do not call.
Right. You hear that? Okay. With that being said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, stay real. Cheers.
I touch that 5 for you. I do that 3 more times again. I testify for you. I told her like you, that bitch. I do it all, and I'm around. Just kidding.